What's going on, guys? It's your boy Beats by Ash, back at it again with another banger of a video. I'm finally ready to get at it once again to bring you guys the goo, and today we're going to be going over my top 32 blue Doflamingo deck list that I used at the Core TCG online regional. My first ever online event, and I placed top 32. I actually finished 30th place exactly. I'm going to go through my entire card choice, give you guys a couple thoughts on the event, how everything went, and all that good stuff. So first off, I'd like to start off by saying I finished 7-2, and in these online events, if you don't know, there is no top cut. So whatever the standings is, it goes into tiebreakers, and I will say that I got very much screwed in that regard because 4 out of my 9 people that I played against actually dropped from the tournament. And on top of that, 9 people who were X2 got into top 16, something like that. So I had a very high chance to get a Usopp, especially because the person that I lost to, one of those 2 people ended up getting 2nd place, and right after my match, I thought the guy was a nice guy, and I thought he was a really cool person. I thought everybody was, but everybody in my chat told me the guy made multiple cheats, and I was like, it doesn't matter, you know, like, I mean, he probably could have won anyway. Then I go back in the footage, I realized this guy actually did just make multiple blatant cheats with a malicious intent, and I reported it to the judge, and essentially the judge just did nothing, and the guy goes on to get 2nd place, and I'm just saying, that would have made me X1, which technically, I would have been guaranteed a serial Luffy, or at least an Usopp, because 7 out of 8 of the X1 people were put into that top 8 bracket, which gave them a serial Luffy, and I'm more so not frustrated that I didn't get a better placing because of him. I'm more so frustrated that the judges did nothing and allowed this guy to get 2nd place because he essentially got $5,000 for cheating, and this guy probably cheated other people if he was willing to do it the way that he did. I originally thought that it wasn't that bad, but then other people pointed out to me that his tone of voice changed whenever he cheated, and he was holding his Dawn cards very weird. I'm not going to go too in-depth on what exactly occurred because I know that Bandai and the tournament organizers have been threatening quite a few people for banning them for exposing the cheating. And there's been a lot of cheating going on, and I think that's just terrible because I'm not going to lie, bro. Like, for me, it's all about proving something to myself. Like, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! For almost 10 years, bro. Literally 10 years at the competitive level. And everybody is super sweaty in Yu-Gi-Oh! Way more so than this game, and the prizing literally sucks. Whereas in this game, the prizing is good, and for people to be even more malicious than that level, it's just astonishing to me, bro. It's like you're literally so broke that $4,000 is your year's wage, bro. At the end of the day, I think it's funny how many people keep reposting the same people over and over again who are cheating, and I'm more so frustrated with how that person gets regards in the community because I actually saw people shouting this guy out for getting a top cut placing, and I don't like that. Because at the end of the day, you know, I'm out here to demonstrate my all-time best, and I like doing this because I know it's difficult. You're not guaranteed to win every time, and that's why it's fun. Because even when you lose, you can tell yourself, I could do something better. Like, even if I lost to an RNG reason, I could have chose a better deck. I could have changed my cards. You know, you can allocate a reason to that. But when people are giving this guy props for getting 2nd place, you know, that he's like such a good player, and also that Whitebeard is just such an amazing deck, I don't like that. I don't respect that. Bro, I don't need the money. I just graduated with 2 bachelor's degrees this weekend. Let's fucking go. You already know what it is. You know, I'm out here building a legacy. Since 12 years old, I've been taking on legends, bro. I probably have more tops than this guy has legal games completed. So, you know, I can't be too mad at that. And I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, ranting that I didn't get this or to get that. I don't really care. The money means little to me because other avenues that I pursue make me so much more and way more profitable, and I do this to prove to myself that I can compete at the highest level. And I wanted to put this out there because I'm letting everybody know that I'm going to win a serial Luffy with integrity, and it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but one day I will be undefeated, and I'm coming for you. I've proven that I can hang with the best, and you're about to see why the best is blessed, and that's me. So let's go. So enough with that. I just want to say I'm super proud of myself for going 7-2 with Blue Dofi, and the fact that I got cheated one game. I could have potentially gone 8-1 with Blue Dofi. I literally went against no slouches besides the first round. The first round guy, he was playing Garp. But then from there on, I went against 1 Zoro, 3 Whitebeard, 1 of the Whitebeards was the cheater, and 4 Law. And I have to say that Law is a really, really difficult matchup for this deck. And I had to never misplay, and a couple of the people missed 1 search, and I barely was able to pass by a small margin, because I had to do everything correctly, and I had to expose some of their flaws. So really, this tournament experience in this report is a direct reflection of my ability to perform at the highest level with bad matchups as well. And I'm really proud of myself, and I can tell you, you're going to be seeing a lot more from this guy, so get used to the face at the top table. You know, goats come and go, but boats float, and I'm the best of all time, baby. So get ready for the ride, because you're in the era of the Lion Sin. Let's go. I'm coming next weekend, bro. But I'm going to share this deck list with you guys, because this is probably the last time I'm going to play this deck for a bit. My main reason for playing this deck was because a community of people said some really nasty and disrespectful things to me, and, you know, on a personal level, and on top of that, it also correlated to me playing blue, and I wanted to prove to them that you can win with anything if you are a good enough player, and if you're willing to innovate the game, and that's what I did. I took advantage of people who were net decking, people who put little time in. I outworked them. I know what it feels like to be outworked before, and I don't like that feeling, so I decided to take it to another level, and that's really the only reason I was able to win. You know, if you see a lot of these people out here who are playing Blue Dofi, it was pretty much because of me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but at the last in-person regional, 20 people, at least, came up to me and said, "Hey, man, I started playing this deck because of you. Brother." You know what I said to that? Get off my deck. I'm trying to win. Okay, but no, for real, though, you guys can play the deck. I'm moving on to a new deck. You know, I already got my top, so I'm cool with it. And technically, it was even better than I thought I could do because of that, you know, cheating incident. But besides that, you know, it's the best performance I've had yet with the deck. I've had big wins, but I'm just saying I'm innovating the game, and that's not going to stop. And that's why I got to move on, because people are getting close up on my trail, and it's time for Beats by Ash to start lapping people again, boys. You know, so we got to get at it in a different direction, because one thing I don't like about this game is it's literally planned out to the T. Everyone just net decks all these people in Asia, and it really requires no thought. There's honestly not a lot of, like, skill-based decisions in the game on the same level as competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, and for that reason, if you're a good player, you're going to have to take advantage of the deck-building aspect of the game, and I will say that very few people, even the ones who top, do that, and it really shows with what I'm able to do and how I'm able to play flexibly, how far I can go in this game and in life, and I really hope you guys can take something away from that. I do also want to mention, along the lines of the cheating thing, most of the people I've seen who are cheating are playing Whitebeard. Now, there are exceptions to this rule, but I will say the majority of the people I've seen cheating are Whitebeard, and there's a bunch of people cheating regardless, but you should definitely watch out if the guy's playing Whitebeard, because there's a lot more things that the guy can try to get past you that might go unnoticed if they're playing a different deck. And I think that's for a couple reasons. Number one, it's so impactful for the guy to look at his life cards because he's drawing them every turn. And number 2, they also need to see a specific card if they're playing stage, and that makes it easy for stacking. You know, I can detail you a easy method for stacking, and I am no way telling people to do this, but I think that truly the amount of people who have won with Whitebeard in online regionals is super oversaturated, and if you're winning back-to-back-to-back tournaments that are 8 rounds or more with Whitebeard, you're either the luckiest man alive and you're the only person who is ever going to do that, or 2, you are cheating or rule sharking people. Because I can tell you it's so easy for you to just do a pile shuffle, make 5 piles, okay, put a stage in each pile, okay, put a vanilla in each pile, okay, let's put an event in each pile, okay, because you got to think about it like this. Number 1, the other guy typically does like a soft cut. So if you put your stuff in piles and you can do it really fast and your setup makes it even more advantageous for you to do that, why would these people not do that? They're already basement dwellers. They're already sleaze bags. Like, bro, they need $5,000. They're never seeing a woman, so they need to touch Whitebeard's tits, bro. So, you know, whereas the normal G's like your boy, you know, I play blues. I get a lot of women. That it is what it is, man, you know? I don't need to compensate by, you know, rubbing my hands over Moby Dick. You know, I mean, there's a couple things you can say about that. But all in all, I just have to say, watch out for the Whitebeard players, bro, because you can easily stack. And if you want to make sure that the guy is not cheating, I have a method that I highly recommend. Number 1, roll 1 dice to decide how many riffle shuffles the guy does. Riffle shuffling, if you don't know what that is, it's like this. You pick up the deck and you go like this. Secondly, roll a second die afterwards to decide how many they will cut off the top or how many piles they will make. This will ensure you that the other guy cannot stack his deck into piles, because in the Whitebeard deck, the reason it's so easy, all of their cards do the same thing. They have such a high grouping of cards that fit the same role, it'd be so easy for them to open an equally balanced hand. And that's one way people can easily cheat. And I don't like that, and so that's why I'm giving you guys the tips and tricks to prevent that. But ultimately, if someone's going to cheat you, they're going to cheat you, so you can't take this that serious anyway. Just try your best and be happy that you did the best you could, and that's why I'm happy. I'm just out here ranting because I'm trying to spread information for the community and let you know that I am always going to bring integrity to the table. And trust me, whenever I get that W with integrity, it's going to feel so much better than all of these cheater beards who are sitting in their basement and will never touch a woman in their life. I also want to mention the reason why I decided to play this deck was because I did feel like all of the Whitebeard people have a potential chance to be more shiesty than others in terms of breaking the rules over webcams. But I also found that with Doflamingo, even if someone does a soft cheat, stacks their hand, you know, or draws an extra card, sometimes with Doflamingo, it's such a good matchup that you can still win anyway. And that was pretty much the main reason I even brought the deck. I didn't think it was like the best deck to bring to the tournament, but I wanted to make sure that I got a fair shot at winning. And what do you know? The Whitebeard guy cheated and just gets second place. So, I mean, what can you do? I hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope you guys are able to gain something from this. Make sure to smash the like button. Turn post notifications on so you never miss another banger. And without further ado, let's get into the goo. Alright, boys, I don't want to hear anybody saying Beats by Ash never helped you out, because I could have sat here and done the Yu-Gi-Oh style deck profile where I just show you one card at a time, but I decided to put it out like this because I know a lot of the NETDECKERS have a very small attention span and they want to get right to the goo, so go ahead and take a screenshot. But before you do that, pause the video and smash the like button, because no one's out here doing it like your boy. So first off, I want to go ahead and go over the pricing. So we got, you know, the lad, Tony Choppa. It's Tony time, baby. Let's go. Hope you guys can see this. So this is the prize card I got for top 32. I'm just glad to have won something, to be honest, because this just proves to myself that I can compete at the highest level, and I will be back again. And on top of that, we got ourselves a pack of Dawn sleeves, and we have 5 event packs. So I'm going to go ahead and open these event packs for you guys before we get into the profile. Hopefully we pull a Jinbe so your boy gets to eat good tonight. Pause the video. Let me know what you think we're going to pull down below. I'm going to go ahead and pre-tear these so I don't just have to sit here and waste you guys' time. If we can just get 1 out of 5, that would make my day. Shout out to me for increasing the price of Jinbe. Y'all remember when it was $50 and I told y'all to buy Jinbe, bro. If you got this far in the video and you want to show some love, comment justice for Jinbe, because Jinbe needs to appear in these packs. Let's go ahead and flip the first one over. Is this going to be it? Is this the boy, the mad lad? No, it's an Uta. Guys, come on. Could we not have given this to the cheater, bro? Like, come on, he needs an Uta. Okay, no worries, no worries. We got this. Second pack. It's time. All right, let's go. The second son of the sea, Jinbe, appear. Sengoku, no! Sengoku, what the fuck? Okay, guys. Still, we have 3 Jinbes in here. I'm feeling it. 3 Jinbes. Don't think about Sengoku, guys. It's time for Jinbe. He's hiding amongst these 3 packs. Can we find him? Let me know why the event packs are harder to open than any other pack, please. This is for the second son of the sea. Jinbe, come to me. Uta, bro! Why do I get 2 Utas? Oh my gosh. What the heck, bro? This has got to be a Jinbe. Please. Please. At least a Jinbe, bro. Please, at least a Bart. Jinbe, come to me. Jinbe. Jinbe, come to me. Ace! Oh my god, bro. These packs are rigged. Last pack. Let's go. This is it. This is for the guy who cheated me and the second son of the sea. It's time. Jinbe, answer the call. Sengoku! Bro. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. The judge who didn't want me to expose the cheater literally weighed these packs. Double Sengoku, double Uta, 1 ace. Bro. And the thing is, guys, I won 12 event packs at the Treasure Cup previously, and I pulled only 1 playset of any card, and that playset was Bart, when Bart was $20. It is what it is. You know, it's not all about the pulls, boys. Alright, guys, a lot of this stuff is standard, but I'm going to quickly go through it in a different way than most people do. So I have it ordered in a way that I think is the most logical. So here we have 10 total starter cards. What I mean by a starter card is a card that we want to see in our opening hand. Now, the reason why I play this card is for 2 reasons. Number 1, with 10 total starter cards, we have a 68% chance to see one of these in our opening hand, and I don't like to make the deck to be just Perona or bust. Secondly, I will say that people who don't play this card are net deckers and are bad, because this card is literally the second best card in the deck. This card single-handedly allows you to win the green matchup and the law matchup, and it just makes the red matchup unfair for the other guy. It's literally just relevant in every single matchup besides Whitebeard. And I don't think you can play any less than 2. If you play 3, it's a little bit greedy because you have an 85% chance to reveal 1 Warlord at the beginning of the game. And you could reveal more, but if you miss in a matchup where the effect isn't relevant, it can really hurt you. Or if the guy responds with a Vista effect immediately after. The main reason why this card is really strong is because people have a big misconception about what the negatives are playing this deck. Number 1, people are like, you lose to 8-drop kid, you lose to 8-drop kid. It's like, bro, you don't auto-lose to 8-drop kid. That's what net deckers and people who don't actually take the time to think about the game are going to tell you. What you lose to is your opponent having an excessive amount of blockers on the board, and it just so happens that if the guy has 8-drop kid, he also just has an excessive amount of blockers on the board, and so you're going to lose regardless. If the guy has multiple 5-cost blocker law and multiple 1-drop blockers, it doesn't matter if he has an 8-drop kid. You still lose. That's why it is a bad matchup versus law regardless. because the problem is the deck has no removal. I don't know why. Red just has so many removal cards, and this deck, you just aren't allowed to answer anything until turn 5, and even when you do, it can't be something higher than 7, and they just introduced 4 insane bombs that are above 7 cost, and it puts you in such a handicap, but this card allows you to break through that. Because what happens is, the way you win with this deck is by your leader answering their board and outvaluing them in the late game. Well, if they have a bunch of low-cost blockers, you can't do that because you have no removal. So what I do with this one-drop Dofi is a lot of times I use it to discard my cards with no counter in the matchups that aren't applicable. Like, for example, Zoro, your Mihawk is not a very good card, and 9 out of 10 times you don't want to use it. So if you can discard it off your one-drop Dofi, tap this, attack their Makino, and then bottom deck their Nami or their Sunny-kun, it's just putting you so far ahead. And if they have a blocker, it's just crazy. So versus the green matchup and the law matchup, you can attack their Bonnie, and you can bottom deck it, or you can bottom deck their blocker, attack their Bonnie, or their, Momonosuke if it's in the Kinemon matchup, or even, you can bottom deck their Nami, which is super relevant because they could be able to bounce it back to hand to get infinite value. And so this card allows you to answer those cards and remove those one-drop blockers so that your leader ability can actually answer their board and you can actually do what the deck is intended to do, which is outvalue the other leader. And, the biggest advantage of this deck is as soon as you see a stacker, you pretty much have access to your engine, and since we have a 68% chance to do that, we almost always are going to be able to play the game. What I mean by engine is being able to infinitely summon cards from the top of the deck, and people do not see this in the same way as me. I've had good people say, your fundamentals are words that are banned on YouTube, and I'm now a monetized channel, so I cannot say that, but also they told me, why am I feeding this garbage to my students because they noticed I'm a coach? Dude, you realize that in this deck, and this rule does not apply for any other deck, your deck, the cards that you actually know about, are almost like a second copy of your hand. And so I treat those as my hand, which means that in the early game, I'm willing to discard multiple cards to protect my character because I know that I'm going to be able to generate that value later on with my leader ability by getting infinite value from the deck. And this is a big misconception that I see a lot of people do, and that's why I am able to outskill them. And it allows me to win a lot of games that I should not be able to win. But overall, I highly recommend this card. I think you need it in the current meta, and I would not play less of it. Now we're going to talk about Jinbe, the second son of the sea, the one who is hiding among my 5 event packs, never to be found. This is the most important card of the deck. I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of people online. They bait you. They say, you don't need this card. You don't need this card. Bro, this is literally the only reason to play the deck. When we didn't have this card, no one topped with the deck. And as soon as this card came out and it was $50, I told everyone to buy it. I said that this card is insane. I won a 50-person case tournament. I won 7 locals in a row. That's literally so hard to do in a rock, paper, scissors based game. Number 1, this card is the only card in the game that can answer turn 1 Okiku. If you are on the play and you see a 1-drop Dofi or a 1-drop Perona and you put this on top of your deck for turn 2 and they go turn 1 Okiku, you can swing 7, summon this card, and at worst case scenario, they trade 1 for 1 with their Okiku and your Jinbe. The problem is, it's not even a 1 for 1, because while at face value that is the case, people do not recognize that I did not use this card for my hand. I generated this card as a free resource. I summoned it from the deck, which means that it is always a +1 in card advantage for me if they have to use their Okiku to answer it. And what happens if you answer their Okiku on turn 1? There was essentially no reason for them to play Kinemon because they're now using a vanilla leader, and at that point, they should have just been playing Eustace Captain Kid leader. Number 2, this card is so busted versus red. Bro, I won a 5-round tournament with this card. summoning it 5 times versus Zoro in one game without using my leader ability more than 1 time in that game because I did not see a stacker in 20 plus cards through my deck, which is a statistical anomaly. If you summon this card versus Zoro, they have to answer it. And pretty much anything they do results in a -1 for them, which makes it so difficult for them to come back because you already outvalued them by playing for board. So I cannot say enough about this card. I could tell you so many implications for it, but I'm not going to lie. Unless the guy is playing Stagebeard, I mean, even if the guy's playing Stagebeard, he could still have a Tony Chopper. He could even have the 2-cost blocker in Whitebeard. It's literally relevant in every single matchup. It has 1k counter. There's no downside to it. And the way I have these ordered is in the order that I summon them. What I mean by that is if this is on the top 5 and this is on the top 5, I choose to summon this first. So this is the first thing you would like to summon, then this, then this, then this, and so on. Obviously, if you don't have a choice, things are different, but that's just to give a perspective to the new players. Secondly, I'm going to talk about this Gecko Moria. Honestly, I don't think this card is that good. The only reason why I had it in the deck and I did not previously play it before was because I felt like in this tournament there was going to be a lot of people cheating with the Whitebeard deck, and I was correct. And I felt like if I had this card, just like I explained in my pre-log, if I go against a Whitebeard player and they do cheat, I can sometimes still beat them just because it's such a good matchup for me, even though they, defied all logic and cheated. So that's why I had the card in the deck. Overall, I found that I would rather play a different card, and you know that in my Patreon from my last regional video. So make sure to hit me up. So make sure to check out the Patreon if you want to see that. But honestly, I wouldn't play this card. Like, it's okay. But ultimately, my problem with it is every other card in the deck has 2 purposes. Number 1, it's a card that can be summoned off the top, and it's a card that can be played from hand that has a good value and a good positive effect on our deck in both situations. This card does nothing when you draw it. It could be any other card. And also, it can be added back off of your other Gecko, and you'd be surprised some games when you only see this off the top, how long you have to wait to actually get value out of this, and that is really irritating. But this card's okay. If you're expecting nothing but Whitebeard, you can play it, but it's way overhyped. People think it's insane. Then Bartholomew Kuma, I think this is staple by now. You have to play this. Enough said. It demands a modifier plus a removal. And it just makes it to where when they have a Vista effect, it becomes a lot more costly. They don't just get to kill things for free on your board and get a +1 for no reason, because you can actually follow up with another tempo swing. And if you haven't been keeping track of the game, we're in a race-based meta, and this card just provides you too much tempo if you actually had the Pacifista. On top of that, 9 out of 10 people will not try to play around it. I don't know why. They just don't care, and they're like, he just may not have it. It's good. And then you just have it, and you just win. If you resolve the effect at the beginning of the game, and you have another stacker available, you probably just win. So this card just broken, not going to lie. Gecko Moria, I mean, it's just a staple. I usually try to put this at the bottom as possible because you want to get value off the effect every time, because the farther you can put yourself ahead in what I like to call a race-based meta, the more chances you are eliminating for your opponent to beat you in a RNG mannerism. And what I mean by that is, if you've gained so much advantage by putting a distance between yourself and your opponent, it doesn't matter if they trigger a Red Hawk or a Gum Gum Jet Pistol in the life, you still just win the game. And that's something important to understand about this deck, because you won't win every game no matter what deck you play. But if we do our best and make the correct sequence each time, we're going to teach ourselves to win more games overall. And then the Goddess, Boa Hancock. The one thing I'll tell you about this card is, pretty self-explanatory. You want to summon this last if possible. And also, you should feel comfortable discarding 2 or 3 cards to defend this, because if you successfully defend it, you're going to get back to your turn. You're going to attack with it. You only want to draw cards with it when you attack, essentially, because if you invest a Dawn into it, the other guy can use a Vista effect, and you didn't get to draw a card, and then you just lost a Dawn for no reason. But if you're drawing the card on your turn after protecting it once you summoned it off of the deck, you're going to get back a card, and you're going to challenge the card that they used to attack your Boa, which is going to generate you back potentially 2 to 3 cards in card advantage. So always feel comfortable discarding your hand to protect this. And I personally always am very greedy about keeping my characters on board, because the deficiency of blue in general is that we can only establish 1 to 2 characters on board per turn. So we need to protect them at all costs, because if we don't, we pretty much lose because we have limited removal and our cards are like lower power level on average. If we didn't have this leader, blue would be straight up unplayable, but because we have this leader, it's like B tier. Then we've got Mihawk. Now, one thing I'll touch on with Mihawk is that if you have this Dofi, or if you have this Mihawk, people are like, I don't like to play this Dofi. He bricks, he has no counter. Bro, summon this card early, discard your hand, cycle. There's a lot of cards in each matchup that are dead. You just cycle those out. Summon this card as early as possible if you think it's the correct situation. Because there are some times that you can't discard it to get value off of your graveyard Gecko Moria, and then you put it on the board and it lets you cycle, and then you just add back the card with Gecko Moria, or it dies and you get it back with Gecko Moria, and you just get so much pluses. So make sure you're thinking about that. And then we have Alvida. Just group that in there because it's the other 2K. Don't think you need more than 8 2Ks, honestly. If you manage your resources appropriately, you should be good with 8. I decided to play 3 Mihawk. I played 4 at the in-person regional. You can play 4. And I think it probably is like more safe to play 4 because there's a lot of people playing mirror matches, and in the blue mirror match, whoever has Mihawk automatically wins. There's literally no skill expression. It's just whoever has it first and got to play first like wins, because once again, there's no removal and no outs to the card. Even then, in the in-person regional, I lost to the guy who got top 4 in round 8, and he only played 3 and I played 4 because he just drew all 3 of his back to back to back. So he just defied all logic of that, and so I decided to cut this down because I was like, you know what, even though it's good in a lot of matchups, I just wanted to have a higher chance to play the game, because I found out when I was able to play the game and use my engine, I was able to just win majority of the time by displaying a higher level of skill expression than my opponent and being more experienced. So I just valued consistency over power, but do with that what you will. A lot of these choices are going to be based on what you think you are going to be playing in the tournament, so make sure to make your own changes and don't be a net decking ninja. Then onto the defensive cards. We play a total of 6 defensive cards, 2 Law, 4 Love. I made 3 Law standard, and then people started net decking me, so I went to 2 to differentiate myself. Just kidding, but not kidding about the first part. I did get people on 3, cutting it from 4, and now I cut it to 2, because the thing is, this card is not applicable versus any matchup except for Whitebeard, and even in the Stagebeard matchup, they actually just have so many Vista effects that it's not even applicable. It's literally only applicable in Strawbeard, but because so many people ride that deck, you need to have it, and it does have really strong late game value with your Gecko. I will say that if you're playing 4 Mihawk, you should probably play more Law, but because I'm playing 3, I can get away with 2, because you have to think, in any matchup where the guy has a Vista effect, he's killing our Law, we just used our card for nothing, lost a Dawn, and it was like, this is just a fake card. On top of that, there's nothing else in our deck that is a natural target for their Vista effect that actually matters. Everything else that's actually good demands a modifier, so this is a free target for them. Secondly, if you're going against green, all of our stuff is coming into play tapped because it's coming off of the deck, so you play this, they tap it, and it's like, it's just another like -1 in card advantage. So that's something to consider, because, you know, a lot of people just net deck and they're like, I play 3 because you only need 3. Bro, I'm literally giving you the sauce to why you play 2, because I put everyone on 3, and now everyone will be on 2. That's just how the game works, because I'm an innovator and you are a subscriber, and that's why I highly value you guys, because you guys keep me in business. But on the last card, just 3 Pacifista, put him on his own. I think you need 3 because I really feel like in this game, the percentages line up, especially in Doflamingo with so much digging, that with a 3 of, you are going to see 1 copy of a 3 of per game. And you don't want to see too many of this card because we want cards in our hand that can actually do things. But at the same time, it is a card that is decent to draw if we have this other card. But, you know, to play Devil's Advocate, the biggest reason why I don't play 4 is because you have to think. This card is a dependent variable to this other card. Why would I play 1 card for every other 1 card that it interacts with? That makes no sense. And people will try to argue that, but that's just not true. That's it for the deck profile. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. Make sure to check out my Discord. Link will be in the description. If you are interested in coaching, there's a forum on that Discord. And as well, if you got this far, make sure to smash the like button, turn post notifications on, and subscribe to the channel, because no one is out here giving out free value like your boy. As always, if it's not the goo, it's got to go. Peace.
Is that indigo?